7th September 2020, and I'm joined by Mr. Kennedy Mandaza, ZANU-PF spokesman for South Africa. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and you? Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic. And today we want to quickly talk about the South Africa delegation from ANC that is going to be going to Zimbabwe. Please, may you give us more information, since you are based here in South Africa, on what will be happening with that delegation.
Thank you very much. The only information that I can give you for now is that a delegation from ANC will be going to Zimbabwe, and it will be meeting with the ZANU-PF leadership in Harare. The details of the agenda has not been made available, but obviously there are people that have been making, trying to find or to set the agenda for these people who are going to Harare, and as well as the people that are in Harare. But let me say that the basis of the trip to Harare by ANC leadership is to discuss with the ZANU-PF leadership that is in Harare, so that they can have an in-depth understanding of what exactly is obtaining on the ground. And given that ANC is a sister liberation movement, it is important that they get the right information, so that any decisions, if ever they are to make any decisions, they are informed by the correct information which they have to get through interacting with the leadership in Harare, which is that of ZANU-PF, their sister liberation movement.
Okay. There was a very strange statement that was given last week by the ANC representative for international relations, where they say that Zimbabwe is in crisis. Do you agree with that statement?
You should appreciate, and we equally appreciate, that there have been so many sentiments that have been aired by various people from various quarters. And where we sit as ZANU-PF, we have been consistently saying that there is no crisis in Zimbabwe. And it is good now that ANC is sending a delegation to Harare, so that they can verify the information that they have been seeing through various media platforms, whether the things that they have seen, heard, are correct. That is why also ZANU-PF has consistently said that if there is anyone who would want to verify the information that have been peddled through social media in particular, and of late through SABC and other TV stations in South Africa, whether it is correct, and they can only get the correctness of the information, or they can also discard the information that they've been getting on the basis of the discussions that are going to take place in Zimbabwe. So that's why we are saying we welcome that. We welcome the trip of the ANC delegation, because they are going to get the correct information, which will then enable anyone in ANC to make an informed comment on the basis of what they would have seen, heard, and get through the interaction that they are going to have during their meetings.
Okay, last week or the week before, there was 2 envoys who were sent to Zimbabwe, Sid Mufamandi and Baleka Mbete. They managed to talk to the president, but they were not able to talk to the opposition. This was a big problem to South Africans. Why is it that the envoys were unable to meet the president? Was there a reason?
the only reason that was advanced, and which still stands true, is that the envoys were sent by President Ramaphosa, and under the protocols that govern the going or sending of envoys, they were supposed to have met the president. And any other insinuations that have been made by people from various quarters may not be true, because either the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe nor the envoys said that they were denied to meet anyone in Zimbabwe other than the president. Secondly, the Minister for International Relations, if I'm not mistaken, also came and said that they would have loved that the envoys would have seen other people, but they did not fulfill their mandate, or they did not fulfill per se what they were expected to do. And this they could do if they are given another opportunity to go to Zimbabwe. So it still stands the responsibility of South Africa, the South African government, to send any other envoys to go and meet whoever they would want to meet in Zimbabwe other than the stakeholders. But from my understanding at this particular juncture, the ANC delegation is going at the invitation of the ZANU-PF government, of the ZANU-PF party, to meet as sister parties to get to understand what it is that is happening, how best they can then work together to make sure that they mitigate any challenges, if there are any, and how they can approach to this wave, which from where we sit, we believe is an attack on liberation movements, in order to make sure that they remove liberation movements from power and put surrogates that can be used by the Western powers that still have interest in South Africa as well as in Zimbabwe.
Okay, so will the South African delegation be allowed to meet the opposition and civil society?
The delegation that is going to Harare is going to meet the ZANU-PF leadership. I will not preempt what they will discuss and what they will agree. But as ZANU-PF, we have always been open to say if there is anyone who would want to verify the authenticity of the information that we are giving, they are ready to come to Zimbabwe and do so. So the issue here, whether they are going to meet anyone else in Zimbabwe, still remains within the bounds of the interaction that is going to take place between the leadership of ANC and that of ZANU-PF. And anything that they agree after that, I think it will be informed by the discussion that would have ensued.
Okay, then let's go to the statement that was made after the ANC NEC meeting by President Cyril Ramaphosa. President Ramaphosa said what is happening in Zimbabwe is starting to affect South Africa at their borders. What do you think that statement means according to the ZANU-PF interpretation?
Well, it is not an open, it is an open secret that what happens in Zimbabwe affects what happens in South Africa, because it is our neighbor, and with an economy that is still standing strong. And as a result, many of our people normally take economic refuge in South Africa. So South Africa would surely mourn or will express their displeasure if whatever happens in Zimbabwe would have a number of people coming to South Africa, because currently South Africa is also battling with its own challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, and also by other issues that are in South Africa. So surely, if there are issues that would happen in Zimbabwe that will lead to the implosion of, in terms of the movement of people between South Africa and Zimbabwe, South Africa is surely going to express their displeasure. But at the moment, as we have said, if the movements that we currently see are movements that have been going on throughout the years because of the economic meltdown that has taken place in Zimbabwe, and also currently we have the COVID-19 pandemic that is also ravaging all countries in Africa and abroad. And this has necessitated people to look for greener pastures in order to sustain the livelihoods of their families. But critical to that, I think we need to acknowledge also that some of the economic meltdown that we have seen over the years is as a result of the illegal sanctions that we have always spoken about, and we have always cried that these illegal sanctions should be removed so that we can begin to do things to the best of our ability when all markets and possibilities are open. But at the moment, it still remains our cry, and an honest cry for that matter, that sanctions, among other issues, should be removed in order for us to reduce the inflow of Zimbabweans in South Africa.
Okay, that takes us to the question of what the American ambassador, Mr. Brian Nichols, said last week. He had an interview at ENCA channel where he explained that there's a crisis in Zimbabwe and there's need for genuine dialogue. What is your comment on that?
The intrusion by Brian Nicholas, the ambassador of the United States of America, is regrettable. And it has been consistent over the years, ever since he came into Zimbabwe, that he has advanced, he has actually acted as an activist, trying to poster positions that are for the opposition. And we say that the ambassador of America should remain in his lane and allow those of Zimbabwean origin, if there are oppositions that are in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwean opposition, that make these assertions and statements, surely without Brian Nichols and other people handling them, surely Zimbabwe would go a long way. But at the moment, we have seen a great intrusion and meddling into the politics of Zimbabwe by this ambassador of America, among others. And it is regrettable, and we urge them to remain in their lane. And worse still is the fact that Brian Nichols finds it possible to come and air his views in a terrain or in a jurisdiction where there is another ambassador. Why didn't he allow the South African ambassador, the ambassador of America who is in South Africa, to make those comments in South Africa if there was need to do so? And this is the posturing that we are saying it is regrettable, and Ambassador Nichols should be told to remain in his lane, which is the lane with that made him come to Zimbabwe and put his credentials to the president of Zimbabwe, who is the President Emerson Mnangagwa. Otherwise, I think it is regrettable, and it is a mistake, a misstep that we view so seriously.
So would you recommend that any action be taken against the ambassador for the comments that he made?
If an ambassador sidesteps, if he is no longer serving the purpose for which he came into Zimbabwe, surely it's high time that he should find his way out of the country. And we have a neutral, we have an ambassador who serves his role. We are not against any ambassador who comes into Zimbabwe and does his work according to the prescripts which are given to the ambassadors. That which the ambassador of America is doing at the point in time is regrettable and should not be seen to be done by any other diplomats, because that's not their functions. And we would therefore urge the government of Zimbabwe to watch seriously this Brian Nichols, and if it is possible, it is time he should pack his bags and leave Zimbabwe, or it is time for him to go into the trenches and become the kind of activist that he wants to be.
Okay, then I want to conclude with a look at the issues that have been raised, specifically human rights abuses, abductions, and arrests and detention without bail of journalists and politicians. Do you see this as a problem? What is happening in Zimbabwe?
What we have seen with regards to the issues that you have raised, these have been the mantra that have been used by the opposition in Zimbabwe, particularly the MDC, in order to scare the investors from Zimbabwe, in order to dent the image of Zimbabwe. They have consistently used the issues of human rights, abductions, and all of late, we have seen them now going above board to talk of other issues that are neither here nor there in order to dent the image of Zimbabwe. We urge anyone in Zimbabwe who has a Zimbabwean interest to make sure that they work for the development of our country. Our president has consistently said, we want peace, we want unity, we want all people to put their shoulders to the deck in order to improve the livelihoods of the people in Zimbabwe. And this is the call that is being extended to almost anyone, regardless of their political affiliation and divergence in terms of views. And if that is going to happen in Zimbabwe, we would not see people going overboard to talk about human rights abuses, to talk about abductions. If these are available, Zimbabwe has courts that are there, which have been prescribing for over issues for a very long period of time. And we say and urge anyone who have any information about the alleged abductions to go and give the right information to the courts. And when we also talk about the human rights issues, there are many civil society organizations in Zimbabwe that can also look into that and bring those to the attentions of the relevant authorities in Zimbabwe. What I think is not proper is for us to use megaphone propaganda to dent the image of Zimbabwe so that we do not have the much needed investment and confidence that is required in order for our country to develop.
Okay, then let's go to the issue of dialogue. And this is an issue that has been raised even by the American ambassador. He raised the fact that there's need for genuine dialogue. Is there space for dialogue in Zimbabwe? The churches have also spoken about the same thing. Is the president going to put in place a platform where people can talk and come up with solutions?
I think it is important that people define what they mean by genuine dialogue. Is genuine dialogue defined by the presence of certain individuals, or genuine dialogue is defined by all and sundry who have been invited to be available? The president of Zimbabwe, ever since he came into power, and even after 2018, he came up with the Pollard, where all political actors are supposed to be participating. And it has been very few political parties who have failed to go into this Pollard, and they continue to say their doors are open. But they've been invited. Why don't they join Pollard and air their views? Recently, when the president spoke to address Pollard, he even indicated that the door is still wide open for any member who would want to come and discuss issues that have to do with the development of Zimbabwe and air their issues. You can't discredit a platform that you have not been to and say it is not genuine. They should go there, experience what is in there. Then after that, if they feel then it is not genuine, then they can come out and tell us that it is genuine. It is not genuine on the basis of A, B, C, D, E. But right now, they have no reason to say that Pollard is not a genuine dialogue platform, because other people have been there and they've consistently been there. And we wish and would hope that those that are not yet there, they should join Pollard if they have the interest of Zimbabweans at heart?
I think the main problem people are having is that Pollard seems to be not making any progress. So I don't know if you've ever seen any result so far from Pollard, but for the majority of the people, they have not seen any output from Pollard. Is this an incorrect statement?
I think it is an incorrect statement, because Pollard is supposed to fit in what the government is doing. The discussions that are taking place currently in Pollard, they advise the president, they inform the president on what to do and what the Zimbabweans are expecting. And we believe so strongly that the people that are in parliament, in Pollard right now, they are coming up with the discussions and advising the president on the needs and the expectations of the people of Zimbabwe. And some of these things that have been discussed, I would like to believe that they are part of what the president is doing. I'm not so sure of what the expectations of those who are not in Pollard are. If they are reforms, I think they've spoken about the reforms for a very long period of time. Reforms take place through the parliament processes, and they have parliamentarians that are in there. They should raise their issues and run with them until the reforms that they need, if there is need that there are reforms, should take place. But otherwise, they have enough platforms available in Zimbabwe to engage and seek the kind of results that they want if they feel so strongly about them, and they can convince those that they are going to be dialoguing with, because it is a give and take situation where you need to sacrifice certain things and take in certain things through a dialogue process. It is not you are not going into a dialogue to say, this is my position, let it be, and no other position. I don't think that's the reason for why dialogue is there. And I encourage that if there are any people willing and have Zimbabwe at heart, let them try Pollard.
Okay, so I want to go back to the Catholic bishop's statement. The Catholic bishop said they've been trying to get hold of the president and they've not been given an opportunity to talk to him. The same thing, the opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, says he's been trying to get hold of President Mnangagwa and he has not been given a chance to talk to him. The opposition, the activists, the organizations of activists, civic society, they've also said the same. They've not been allowed to talk to the president. This is the main issue, that they are saying the president is not approachable. That's why they have to go to foreigners, to talk to foreigners to come and help them.
I beg to differ. And I think that is political grandstanding when all these people are saying that the president is not approachable. One, the president has had meetings with so many church leaders, and there is no way you could have excluded the leadership of the Catholic bishops. They are part and parcel of the leadership of churches that have been made by the president. We have had the president meeting many other organizations in Zimbabwe, including traditional leaders, and politicians as well. And for anyone to say the president is not approachable, it is them that have an agenda that we feel is not a good agenda. If they seriously need, have they walked to the door where Pollard is taking place and they were denied the opportunity to do so? Have they made an attempt to meet the president in his office and denied the chance to do so? They should come clean in terms of their approaches, in whether they have approached the president, because the president has said Pollard is available and his hands are wide open to accept anyone for dialogue on issues that have to do with the development of Zimbabwe.
Okay, but the bishops cannot go to Pollard because it's a political actors dialogue. and the activists cannot go.
The bishops, if they want to see the president has been very open, and he has had meetings with the leadership of the church, and they should be part of that leadership. Unless they should clearly say that we were not invited, then we say yes, of course, then there is a problem. But in this case, the leadership of the Catholic bishops have been part of meetings that the president has had with other leaders of the churches.
Okay, so are you saying then there's no crisis in Zimbabwe and the ANC doesn't need to really go to Zimbabwe?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I said the ANC is most welcome to go to Zimbabwe as per the invitation that have been made by their sister organization ZANU-PF to discuss matters of interest as the liberation movements. And I would want to believe that it is through these interactions which they have been doing over a long period of time that informs us of what we need to do to improve the livelihoods of Zimbabweans as well as those that are in South Africa by ANC. ANC is most welcome and should go as and when they have time to do so. And this trip is no exception, they should go. But the issue here is, and ANC has not said that it is going to Zimbabwe because there is a crisis. That is not the position of ANC, that we are going to Zimbabwe, that there is a crisis. Our position as ZANU-PF is, ANC is most welcome to see and hear everything that they would want to see and hear, and furthermore discuss issues of common interest as liberation movements. And for us, there is no crisis in Zimbabwe. The crisis that we only have in Zimbabwe is that of opposition parties that are using megaphone propaganda to dent and tarnish the image of our country.
Okay, if the ANC visits Zimbabwe and they come up with a position that agrees with the opposition, will ZANU-PF accept that assessment?
We will not preempt what will come out of their discussions. The discussion is going to be frank, and I would want to believe that there will be a communique that will be made or a statement. If that statement is what you are saying, it is a statement that those that will be part of the discussion would have agreed. And it is a statement that we would have agreed to, and we will have no problem with that. But there is no possibility that there will be such a statement that categorically says that Zimbabwe is in a crisis. There are other countries and places where we have crisis situations that people have not spoken about, and we can't, therefore, because the opposition have said so, then deem Zimbabwe to be in a crisis. It can't. We have to verify situations that are on the ground.
Right, Mr. Mandaza, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I've taken more time than I'd said I was going to take. I want to quickly talk about ZANU-PF South Africa. Are you making progress with the people here in South Africa? What can someone do if they want to find ZANU-PF and join ZANU-PF?
ZANU-PF is alive in South Africa, and we are making a significant inroads, like we said the last time that we spoke, and we are still inviting people to get in touch with the leadership that is here in South Africa. We have branches throughout, and I must say that since the last time that we met, we have had overwhelming responses across the African continent looking for a possibility of becoming a member of ZANU-PF. And we still remain open for our membership, and we are confident we'll reach the 5 million mark and ensure that come 2023, that we will have a walkover in terms of the numbers. We will win overwhelmingly.
Right, Mr. Kenneth Mandaza, ZANU-PF spokesman for South Africa. Thank you very much for joining me today. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. All what I want to urge my fellow Zimbabweans, regardless of their political affiliation, is that we have no other home other than Zimbabwe. It is time that, regardless of our political differences, we need to unite, we need to be peaceful, we need to engage one another and find a common position that will take our country forward. We do not need to treat each other as enemies, because we believe what divides us is very small, but what enjoins us is bigger than anything, and that is our motherland, which is Zimbabwe. Peace, unity, and putting all that which we can into our country to develop it and turn the fortunes of our country is all what we need to exert our energies on, rather than what we have seen of late, which dents and tarnishes the image of the country that we all claim to love so much.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. Mandaza. And I hope that we'll be able to talk on Wednesday or Tuesday when the South Africans are now in Zimbabwe and they've met all the people that they need to meet. Thank you very much, sir.
You are most welcome.